So if you want to actually know the true context, I mean, here, I posted it on not only my Twitter, but also on my Instagram as well. Not that these people give a single because most of the time when we're having these questions, most of the time we're having these arguments, you are talking to someone who does not care about the truth, who does not care about my perspective, who does not care about the context at all. They simply want to go, Muslim guy who's pro-Palestinian, he's a Jew hater. I cannot wait for undecided questions, dude. I think they bring out truly some of the weirdest fucking people of all time. Like, actually, I'm quite undecided on Kamala Harris's defense of Israel. I feel like she has not defended Israel hard enough. It's like, how? How are you this person? How is this even like confusing for you?
32 Pennsylvania voters say they are still undecided or persuadable. All of them are registered.
Oh man, these are some great.
There you go.
Yeah.
I called it. Oh, she got the IDF dog tag and the yellow ribbon. She's gonna. Yeah. Which, by the way, I very specifically go, oh, she has an IDF dog tag. She's 100% the single issue voter that will bring that up. And before people go, my God, that's anti-Semitic. My God, you are failing to comprehend the basic thing here that makes this incredibly stupid. Okay, being undecided over whether you think Kamala Harris is sufficiently pro-Israel or not this close to the fucking election is what I'm laughing at. You have to be the biggest dumbass. Okay, it has nothing to do with Judaism whatsoever. She's wearing a fucking IDF dog tag. Okay. Jesus Christ. Anyway, let's continue. Stand up and be like, I feel like your loyalty to Israel is questioned.
Yeah.
How will you address campus anti-Semitism?
Yeah.
That's my favorite undecided voter.
I want you to meet Beth Sandberg. She's a realtor, a mom of 4 from Bella Cynwyd, Pennsylvania. She's a registered Democrat. Says she's undecided because of concerns about anti-Semitism. Beth?
Yes!
Hi, thank you for being here.
Thank you
for remembering we need to bring the hostages home.
Of course.
The rise of anti-Semitism and violence from anti-Semitism has risen greatly on college campuses.
I called it.
And on our
like being concerned about the rise of anti-Semitism on college campuses aside, which is like, again, you're ridiculous. Okay, you're fucking ridiculous. But being concerned about the rise of anti-Semitism on college campuses, when people say this, they're talking about pro-Palestinian protests. They're not talking about like actual fucking Nazis who are, drawing swastikas or whatever. They're talking about people who are like, we don't like Israel, right? Now, if that's your concern, okay, why the fuck would you be undecided on where Kamala lands on this? She literally routinely has railed against the pro-Palestinian fucking students time and time again, as a matter of fact. Not only has she railed against them, this administration has allowed other state-level police to genuinely arrest and pack up pro-Palestinian students, many of which were anti-Zionist Jews, by the way. So the idea of like trying to fucking package this as like a serious concern about the rise of anti-Semitism, I'm like, I'm sorry. No, you're fucking ridiculous. You're a ridiculous person. I am not having this conversation with you. You cannot do this 12 months, dude. You can't. No one believes this. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's utterly ridiculous. Not only is it utterly ridiculous, but it's a fucking hilarious question to be like, I don't know if I'm going to be voting for you because this is my one issue. What do you want her to do? Fucking kill a Palestinian child on stage? The fuck do you want? No, literally. Like, I need someone to explain to me. I need a singular person to explain to me how Kamala Harris has not been sufficiently pro-Israel, okay? I need someone to explain that to me. I need someone to be like, here's the reason why I am concerned about Kamala Harris's loyalty to the state of Israel and its actions against the Palestinians. What the fuck more could she have done? What can she do? Actually, what can she do at that point? She's maxed out. She's maxed out. You're fucking nuts.
the streets.
How would you are right, and I will say that we have seen a rise in anti-Semitism on a regular
what more
basis,
can you do?
and
You like
anti-Semitism
kill
was
the fucking anti-Zionist Jews on campus? Like
country,
what do
and
you
this was before
what can you
October
do
7th.
more to combat
And we know what
anti-Semitism
we
on
see.
college
We're
campuses? I am a single issue voter. How will Kamala Harris combat anti-Semitism on college campuses? That's my single issue. There are still students out there that learn that side is bad, for example. I don't think that that's appropriate. I think that sometimes side is good. Like, for example, if the victims of the are barbaric, rapist animal monsters like Arabs who have an antiquated ancient gene of anti-Semitism in their hearts. If you don't teach it like that, then people are going to learn the wrong lessons. That's my single issue. I do like that she was more passionate about answering that than she was about fucking answering the other person who was like, when will you stop murdering children with American weapons? And she was like, yeah, it's really bad. We're beginning to think about the humanity of the situation. Like what would be satisfactory? What would be satisfactory for people who are like at this point, if they are even genuinely undecided on this issue? I don't think that person is really undecided. Okay? I don't think any of the undecided voters are actually undecided. Sorry. That's me. I've been saying this for a long ass time. I don't think any of these that go on TV are actually undecided. They just want to be on TV. They just want to be on TV. That's it. They want to be on TV and they want their message to be heard. You know what I mean? They want to make it seem like there's a massive constituency for this sort of thing. Okay? There's got to be a massive constituency out there for this shit. Let's like, come on. Dog, there was a straight up groiper. I know, it was awesome. Yo, first time chatter, my friend is a firm believer that you support the Armenian side. He thinks because you were a part of the Young Turks, I guess you actually did the side yourself in his mind. Wait, what? Dude, I've never denied it. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's so crazy. Dude, it's whatever. It's like, you know, what are you going to do? What can you do? Yeah, people are just going to always lie on your fucking name. Okay. That's it. There's always going to be cynical fucking assholes. Just put your fucking head down and hope that, hope that reason will prevail. Hope that people will inevitably be charitable. Hope that people will come to their own conclusions. That's it. One day. That's the only thing I can hope for. And I know that there are plenty of people that maybe a couple months ago were anti-me. Maybe a couple years ago were anti-me. They saw a bunch of clips. They came to their own conclusions off of these like insanely cut out of context clips. Okay? MR talked about this today. They were cooking. It's just, that's it. All I can do is be myself. All I can do is be myself and speak truth to power. Try to offer a voice to the voiceless. Try to show you a different perspective that you were most likely uninitiated on. Okay? That you most likely have never heard before, that you've never encountered, and hope that you're charitable and hope that you're understanding. There's going to be a lot of people who come in here and they have, they're of a different mind. That's normal. Okay? Watch the Mujin video. He actively spreads misinformation about you, claims to be unbiased, but clearly dislikes you. Who the is Mujin? I don't know any of this stuff. I don't care. Anyway, I will be reacting to the Majority Report video, yes. Or, I mean, not Majority Report video, the Jubilee video, yes. Banger AB tweet. What is this? Different doors, same concept. Israel's cruelty towards Gaza and Lebanon is planting the seeds for more violence. Oppression doesn't lead to peace. It leads to resistance. And let me be clear before I'm labeled a sympathizer. I don't want resistance. I want peace. I condemn any killing of the innocent. But peace is not up to those knocking. It's up to those that keep the door locked. Damn, that's a beautiful way to put it from
if
AB.
I know that in this hotel room, they have food every day, and I'm knocking on the door every day to eat, and they open the door, let me see the party, let me see like them throwing salami all over I mean, just like throwing food around, but they're telling me there's no food in here. You know what I'm saying? Every day. I'm standing outside trying to sing my way in. You know what I'm saying? We are hungry, please let us in. We are hungry, please let us in. After about a week, that song is going to change to, we hungry, we need some food. After 2-3 weeks, it's like, you know, give me all the food, breaking out the door. And after a year, you just like, you know what I'm saying? I'm picking the lock, coming through the door, blasting, you know what I'm saying? It's like you hungry, you reached your level, you don't want any more. We asked 10 years ago.
All right, we're gonna get to the obvious skin at that CNN town hall, which was kind of ass. I'm not gonna lie, and it's been kind of ass. And every time I talk to like people that are outside of my orbit, like people that aren't immediately locked into this stuff, whether they're like journalists in reputable mainstream outlets, for example, I'm always shocked that like they are also in agreement with me on this stuff. Like, because maybe I watch too much mainstream media, mainstream press, and it makes me feel as though like there are a lot of Americans who are like, no, we want this reasonable, moderate shit. And it's like, no, I think a lot of people are genuinely confused why Kamala is like, yeah, I'm going to be the border person. I'm going to be the big border. I'm going to be the big border czar. I'm going to do it, you know? How are we going to survive another 4 years of Trump? I'm terrified of it. I don't fucking know. Do you like her answer to Gaza or how she's different than Biden law? Yeah, her answer to Gaza was ass. It was so bad. It was just so fucking bad. She was struggling not to say build a wall. She did say it, though. That's the worst part. She did say it. She ended up dancing around it and then arriving at it. Like, it was crazy. It was shocking. Anyway, is Harris no longer slated to go on Rogan? What happened? That's a massive flub, in my opinion. That's a genuine fucking L if she said no to that. Because Joe Rogan, for all of his faults, Joe Rogan absolutely is like a right-wing guy. We know this already. But he literally will always glaze whoever is he's interviewing, okay? He is the most agreeable person. He is the most agreeable person on the planet. If you could have a Maoist rebel militia leader and Joe would be like, yeah, the third world does need to rise up against their masters. I think the unequal exchange that's occurring in the third world is completely unacceptable, and they are ripe for revolutionary sentiment over there. Like it doesn't matter. Doesn't fucking matter. With the exception of COVID, okay? With the exception of COVID, or if someone is like anti-pot smoking or whatever, like he will always agree with you, okay? Kamala Harris could get Joe Rogan to think that it's a brilliant idea to give $50,000 in tax cuts for small businesses, okay? Joe Rogan would be like, oh, yeah. Well, have you seen this video of an ape tearing off someone's arms? Like, that's what he would do. So absolutely, she should have done that interview. I don't know why she said no to it. I hope she does do the interview because I'm like, on board. I'm on board with the what do you call it? I'm on board with the content. I'm on the content train. Get Claudia de la Cruz on Joe Rogan. Yeah, PSL voters, rise up, dude. I swear to God, Joe Rogan be like, PSL, a pumpkin spice latte. I like that. Party for Socialism and Liberation. I think I'm on board with that. I like liberation. Socialism's kind of scary, but you brought forward really good talking points here, I think. Joe Rogan and Theo are the two of the least confrontational right-wing podcasts. I wouldn't even put Theo on the right-wing orbit, to be honest. You could have a Houthi pirate and Joe would be like, cool dude, want some weed? Oh, for sure. He'd be like, oh, you guys... Joe Rogan interviews like an actual Houthi, not the fucking Yemeni like Rashid, but like an actual straight up Ansar Allah like militant. He'd be like, so I heard you guys do this thing called khat. What's that about? Yeah, have you brought over some khat? Would you like to try some elk meat? He would be like, you chew khat? What is that? I want to try it. Have you ever done DMT? Joe Rogan interviews IRGC member. Yeah, he'd be like, do you want DMT? Dude, if you went on a trip, if you did a DMT trip, you'd go crazy. You would drop this Ayatollah stuff, like I think. Anyway, did you watch the Jubilee bench video? Dude, it's been 50 minutes since I started the broadcast. How could I have watched the Jubilee video so far? How could I have done that? Anyway, Harris courts moderate and independent voters at town hall. Okay, so this was supposed to be the last debate, but of course. This was supposed to be the last debate, but it didn't happen because Trump, chickened out, which is really sad. I saw you fail at the flirting game on Twitter the other day. I don't even know what that is. Okay, I don't know how to flirt. I'm a 33-year-old man who spends 8 to 10 hours every single day. 8 to 10 hours every single day covering the news. Okay, let me tell you something. My brain is fried. I don't know how to do normal human contact and normal human communications. Okay, I've lost it. I don't know how it is. Ask me about like ongoing shit in the world. I will fucking chirp for an hour.
Town hall in the Philly suburbs, Vice President Harris tried to appeal to persuadable voters, and she was pressed on her positions on immigration, the war in Gaza, and also grocery prices. Weijia Zhang is in Philadelphia.
Every single day, bro, is the Lulu. Wait, what? I'm not the Lulu. Dog. look at how many days of the week I stream, and you will recognize that, yes, I cover news and commentary, news, politics in general, every single day. That's true. Seeing your reactions, you are doing way better than people who do less hours. What?
Alfia Forrest, Weisha, good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning, Tony. Good morning to everybody. The Harris campaign tells us they believe that 10% of battleground voters are still up for grabs, including right here in Pennsylvania. At that town hall, the vice president took questions directly from several of those voters who say they're not convinced who to choose. In an appeal to undecided voters, Vice President Harris vowed to bring change to the country.
My administration will not be a continuation of the Biden administration. I bring to this role my own ideas and my own experience.
But at times, Harris struggled to provide specifics when asked about policy.
So my question is concerning groceries. What would you do to bring prices down for Americans?
We will have a national ban on price gouging. There are a number of issues that we need to address in terms of bringing down the cost of living.
What would you do to ensure not another Palestinian dies due to bombs being funded by U.S. tax dollars?
Far too many innocent Palestinian civilians have been killed. It's unconscionable.
Harris was pressed on why she now supports a border wall she once ridiculed as stupid.
Let's talk about that.
That was a really funny moment where she was not even like pressed really, but like one additional question caused her to bait, and now you're like pushing for it, which is really interesting that the media has basically taken their time, their sweet ass time to arrive at this point. I've been saying this since Biden unveiled his, border wall package. That was last year on October 5. I've been screaming about this since last year on October 5, 2023, when Biden came out and was like, that's right, Jack, I'm the border president now. We're going to build that wall. It's just like, that level of flip-flopping is so crazy to me because you have changed fundamentally what you believe. If you say the border wall is stupid in 2018, because it is fucking stupid, the underlying principles behind you assuming that the border wall is stupid is that we are being unnecessarily fucking cruel and using an antiquated mechanism to stop the flow of migration coming into this country instead of dealing with the processing issue and humanizing migrants. That's what the Democrats are supposed to be saying. That's what the Democrats have kind of said, at least my entire life. They've been like, we are a nation of immigrants. That's what they used to say. And usually the counter to that is, oh, well, you want unlimited migration because you want to like enslave these migrants. It's an economic problem. And the answer to that is always still, well, then process them, document them, allow them to participate in the labor force alongside the rest of the American working class, allow them to unionize, allow them to take a larger piece of the puzzle, a larger piece of the profits. So for me, at least there was always a push and pull, and I used to yell. I used to yell at the push and pull, like Obama is the deporter in chief, but at least he got the DACA thing, right? Like, that there was a push, you deported a lot, but there was a pull. You got some concessions, right? I was frustrated with that, but like that was the way the Democrats used to operate. Not anymore. Now they're just all push, no pull. They're like, yeah, we're doing the border wall. What the f- are we doing? They have completely conceded on the false notion born out of right-wing panic that immigrants constitute a national security threat. That is an insane thing to say. That is an insane thing to get on board with. And that is the reason why she looks like she's fucking flip-flopping on this, because she is flip-flopping.
Donald Trump and that border wall. So remember, Donald Trump said Mexico would...
Kamala's between a rock and a hard place. Who she's supposed to coordinate the elections. Progressives at worst won't vote at all, never for Trump. Center-right Republicans don't like Trump and want a reason to vote for Kamala. Yeah, that's really dumb, my friend, because that's really dumb. You want to know why it's really dumb? Because Kamala and Joe Biden before Kamala has successfully gotten the Never Trump constituency. There's a way to activate them. Pick apart the things that they're mad about. They're mad at Donald Trump because Donald Trump is crazy. They're mad at Donald Trump because Donald Trump has made their relatives insane. They're mad at Donald Trump because Donald Trump is brash. He's rude. He says unhinged shit. You can say all of that and be like, yeah, you're not going to vote for Donald Trump. You don't have to make legislative concessions to the right on key issues that are supposed to separate you from the Republican Party. Because when you do that, you're hemorrhaging your base of support. Now, I'll never say that the Democrats don't have a hard electoral map. They do. It's designed against them, okay? In this country, land does vote, right? Oh my God, dude, shut up. Jesus Christ, 15-month subscriber. Holy dude. Ay. Oh, he's just like spamming over and over again. Can you tell your merch company to work with the USPS instead of FedEx? They're not unionized. Like, I don't know what the is going on there. I'm sure they use both, okay? Shut the up. Holy shit. I have no way of changing this shit, okay? Calm down. We are 13 days out from an election where we got like Adolf Hitler, but zesty, going up against the lighter version of that. Okay. And you're over here being like, customer support! Customer support about your merch shipping. It hasn't even come out yet. Shut the up. God damn. He's lost his dang mind. I know a Reddit post is coming soon. New hater unlocked. I fucking hate this guy. If your merchandise is from a unionized shop, but it's like not ethically sourced cotton, I think you really need to change that. How can I know that the yarn being used is actually being collected from sheep that have been kissed every night before they go to sleep? If it's not the case, I am going to kill you. This is my one issue. Shut up. Shut the up. The map is only hard for them because they let the Republicans make it. I mean, there is truth to that, but like ultimately, listen, ultimately, land does vote. That's just the reality, okay? That's the way the Electoral College is designed. Like it, hate it, doesn't matter. That's a big L for the Democrats to begin with, okay? And then the other L is that the Democrats do have to hold on to a diverse coalition of voters. A diverse coalition of voters that have very different things that they care about. They have to literally target every single one without hemorrhaging the other, right? It's a balancing act. I understand that, which is why when I see a gimme, like with the Gaza stuff, it's the easiest thing to do, right? It's the easiest thing to do. Like when you have something that is going to improve enthusiasm without any sort of like repercussions, without any sort of people being like, I'm no longer voting for you, especially with like significant margins, like you have to take it. That's one issue, however. Another thing is I am fearful, okay? I do not want Donald Trump to win this election, and I am fearful that the Democratic Party's consistent message, their method, focusing on the white suburban voter to try to take them away from Donald Trump and bring them into the Democratic Party, is going to cause genuine hemorrhaging on the other constituencies that they fucking need to win, that they are taking for granted. Okay? Hasan, talk about something else. Yeah, dude, you're right. 13 days out from the election. Don't talk about the upcoming election. Talk about something else.
Pay for it? Come on. They didn't.
But you're agreeing to a bill
on.
that would earmark $650 building that wall.
I pledge that I am going to bring forward that bipartisan bill to further strengthen and secure our border.
CNN's town hall.
Yeah. She even turned around and fucking said something like, can you talk more about shipping and handling? I'm going to ship and handle your ass as I package you on a fucking one-way ticket to the sun. Okay. Dems are turning into the new Republican Party. People aren't going to vote for that and will desperately look for a more progressive party that doesn't exist, really, unfortunately. Yeah. There is no like serious fucking outsider here. And I don't even know if one can even exist with like the way that the duopoly currently works. So It is frustrating. It is very, very, very frustrating. I like that the Democrats a couple of years ago were like, we want a strong Republican Party. And then they were like, you know what? The Republicans are too stupid and too fucking, they're too stupid and too racist to like build a strong Republican Party. So we'll be the strong Republican Party. It's great.
It's held in Delaware County, 25 miles outside of Philadelphia. The campaign says it represents former GOP strongholds that could turn blue, where they are focused on finding independents and moderate Republicans. Back in the city, volunteers are canvassing Philly.
Voters demand legit concentration camps, kind of? No. Okay? No, that is not true. There are voters who want it, but they don't know what it looks like. That is the major reason. There's two problems with voters, with American voters and what they poll on, okay? I saw the Axios reporting on this. 47% of Americans would not, 47% of Americans would want a militarized concentration camp for immigrants. That's what they said. 22% of Democrats, 47% of independents, and like 80% of Republicans want this, right? And I'm telling you right now, they do not understand what it would look like if this happened. They do not understand that they would not like it. I remember when Donald Trump was trying to fucking attack the Dreamers. People hated it. He had to back away from that. I remember a time when the Trump administration was like, we are going to do child separation as a deterrence policy at the border. We're going to put kids in concentration camps for the crime of crossing this fucking border. People did not like that. Okay? Americans do not understand what the policies that they're advocating for look like in practice. You have to recognize that reality. There's polling done on this as well, okay? Especially with the Republican Party. Republican voters notoriously do not understand what the impact of the legislation that they're voting for when faced with the direct consequences. We have to find this study. It's such an informative study. I need to fucking show you this study. I don't know if a chatter can find it for me right now. I don't know if I can pull it right now, but it's such a good and instructive study for you to comprehend like how American politics works. One of the best examples you can point to is like abortion. Obviously, many Republicans who voted for Republicans and didn't think that like abortion would ever get taken away, or even thought that it would be good if they criminalized abortions, have now changed their minds on this. Why have they changed their minds on this? Because they never thought of the repercussions. Okay? They never thought of the repercussions. They never thought of like how this might actually harm them somehow if their daughter was in need of a medical procedure like this. And I think that on the issue of immigration, this is another glaringly obvious example where people think they want mass deportations and concentration camps, but if it happens, they're going to be like, oh my God, this is actually kind of fucked up. This happens very frequently. Okay? This happens very frequently. Now, that's one aspect of this. Okay? People do not understand the impact of the legislation that they're advocating for. When faced with the actual impact of the legislation that they're advocating for, they go, oh, that's not what's going to happen. Come on. They fantasize about a completely alternative way that this is going to unfold in a way that actually is positive for them. Okay? I don't know if this was the one. Republicans don't know anything about their party. That's very bad for American democracy. Denying people health insurance because of pre-existing conditions is both unconscionably cruel and despised by voters. As a result, Republicans will routinely lie about their position on this issue. The most outrageous instance of this is when former Senator Cory Gardner cut an ad with his mom, a cancer survivor, saying he was fighting to protect those with pre-existing conditions. There are certainly efforts to fact check, but as this result suggests, the effects of these efforts may be limited. Okay? If Republicans were full tilt, and if Republicans were unimaginably anti-immigrant, then like if they were across the board or if they were across the board, like for certain policies, they would not vote against those policies when it is presented to them in clear-cut, direct ballot measures that they vote for. Okay? You have to understand this. It is not surprising. Is it not shocking to you that Republicans in deep red states, even in Ohio or Kansas, Kentucky, will vote to restore abortion protections, but they vote for Republicans that end up taking away abortion access from them? People are very stupid. So that's one side of this, okay? That's one side of this. The other side of this is that those exact same polls also suggest that by the same fucking numbers usually, okay, almost the same. It's like 60% want mass deportations. And then when you ask that very same fucking audience, how do you feel about offering conditional pathways to citizenship for undocumented migrants that have been living on U.S. soil without doing crimes or whatever? They then say, oh yeah, I want that by the same fucking margins, okay? So how does that work? How does that work? Americans do not understand that their belief structure is directly at odds, okay? It is directly at odds with one another. That's it. So in an environment like that, you have to recognize that if one party is at the very least launching a strong counter message against the unimaginably racist and cruel policies that the Republicans are advocating for, and show exactly how this would materialize and exactly how harmful that would be for them, both from an economic standpoint and also from the humanity of it all, or the inhumanity rather, if you suddenly had BORTAC units in your fucking neighborhood going door to door, arresting whoever the fuck is like perceived as Latino, okay? Americans would very quickly recognize, okay, maybe this is not the best idea. I don't want this. But Democrats have not done counter messaging on this front. So, of course, here we are. The Immigration Hub argued when provided a choice, voters overwhelmingly reject, only 39 in favor, the trademark Trump mass deportation policy that would result in American families across the nation torn apart. The article claimed when framed as a choice, voters prefer a pathway to citizenship over mass deportation by a large margin. Providing a pathway to citizenship remains far more popular approach to handling undocumented immigrants. The piece also cited data from the Pew Research showing that 59% of voters believe that undocumented immigrants should be allowed to stay in the country legally if certain requirements are met, versus 41% who say they should not be able to stay in the country legally. The Hub also claimed that their internal polling shows that when voters are giving specifics about who would be deported, they prefer allowing people to stay over being deported by overwhelming numbers. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's so shocking to me. It's not shocking to me at all because I look at the fucking data. American Immigration Council's Aaron Reichlin-Melnick specifically responded to Axios polling saying that enforcement finding is directly contradicted by other questions in the poll. Axios wrote that the survey still found that Americans strongly support immigration as long as it's lawful, with 58% of respondents saying they support expanding legal pathways for orderly immigration. Reichlin-Melnick also noted decades of polling on this in general show that people want a balanced path to a legal status plus more enforcement, not mass deportations. In another post, Reichlin-Melnick noted that when you explain to people what mass deportation is and propose a path to legal status as an alternative, mass deportation is extremely unpopular. Oh my God, who could have thought? Who has been saying this for years? That's crazy. Me, motherfucker, I've been saying this. I've been screaming this on the fucking rooftops. Shocking. Speaking of which, did you see this? Let's take a poll. A grandma is undocumented. She's lived in the USA 30 years, not even a ticket. She has 4 kids, all American born, as are her 12 grandkids. Kick in her door in the middle of the night, put her in handcuffs, and send her and her kids back to where she was born, and do it on camera as a warning to anyone who thinks they can violate the sovereignty of my country without consequences. Additionally, locate and deport all the people advocating she stay. Now, this is on Twitter, where you can be a Nazi out and about, as this guy is, okay? Say this in the real world. Say this out in the real world, and people will beat your ass, okay? You can have the most rugged, okay? You can have the most rugged Idaho cattle rancher in front of you, and he hears this fucking dipshit say this, they'll beat his ass, okay? They'll be like, what the fuck are you saying? I promise you. Says you? It's not a says you moment. It's reality. You want to know why it's reality? You want to know why it's reality? We know it's reality. All of the Haitians are eating cats and dogs shit popped off on Twitter. Why? Because everyone is jerking off the fucking 14 words over here on this fucking platform. When Trump did it on the main stage, Americans laughed at him. They thought it was gross. Republicans thought it was insane that he was saying that. Republicans. There's a big difference between what pops off on Twitter, Elon Musk's very own personal fucking Nazi forum, versus the way that 60 million Americans react to it on the national stage when the fucking presidential candidate is saying it. Okay? Good luck. Americans fancy themselves to be kind people. Americans fancy themselves to be anti-war. The American government might not do that, and they don't think quite a bit about that contradiction between how they feel about the world versus what the government is doing, but they still believe it. That's precisely the reason why when Trump presented himself as an anti-war candidate in his 2016 run against Hillary Clinton, presenting Hillary Clinton as a fucking warmonger, a lot of Americans responded positively to that message because they too were like, I don't like war. Yeah, the Iraq war was fucked up. There is a real problem with the DC bubble. There is a massive issue with the way that staffers and people that work on campaigns think versus how the average American sees themselves. Okay? Poll, Republicans hate Obamacare, but yeah, exactly. I mean, this is a classic. This is a classic by Ezra Klein. It is a fucking classic. Republicans hate Obamacare, but like most of what it does. When polled, they despise Obamacare. When asked about the many different aspects of the Affordable Care Act, the ACA, they love it, okay? Pre-existing conditions protect polls at like 99%. You can stay under your parents' insurance plan until the age of 26. Oh, great. I love that, okay? Expansion of Medicaid directly. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, why shouldn't we give poor people more medical access? Everybody loves that. Everybody loves that. When you slap on Obamacare as a sticker on it, everyone's like, whoa, I don't want that. Because Americans are fucking dumb. They're stupid. Everyone is stupid, myself included. We're all dumb. Okay? That's it. So recognize the fucking court you're playing in and start messaging for it. Fuck me, dude. Fuck me. Oh, I think it's more racism, but I get you. No, dude. No, it's not. Just slapping the racism sticker on it is too reductive. Okay? Are there people who are unimaginably racist? Of course there are. Okay? But simply saying, nah, they're just racist, they don't give a fuck, is not enough. It's not going to help you understand the situation. Okay? Because if that was the case, then Americans would not respond negatively to like someone who is saying that they're an open Nazi. I talk about this all the time. There's a concept of permissible bigotry. Okay? Permissible bigotry. Like, if you look at the pre-existing hierarchies, forms of oppression that are systemic and point to them and demand more of them, then it doesn't read as like you being bigoted. You can always rely on common sense. I just have common sense. I'm just saying that, like, you know, if these guys are being violent and, you know, they're doing more crime, then yeah, of course the police have to be brutal to them. Like, that's just common sense. That doesn't read as racist. You know what reads as racist? When you say black people are genetically inferior and therefore must be dominated by a fucking brutal force. That is racist. Both messages are communicating the same thing, but one is not giving the game away. There's a reason why there has to be dog whistles, okay? There is a reason why Lee Atwater's famous quote is still very prescient, okay? Americans don't like it when you say something that is so unhinged that they're like, oh, like, even if I agree with you, I feel like you're making me feel bad. Okay? Do our politicians have the data within their parties and governmental agencies that suggest the same thing that you're saying? I'm not doubting anything you're saying. It's just hard to believe. Dude, what are you talking about? I'm showing you data that is readily available. Like, what? If I have access to it, they have access to it too. It's not like I'm making this up from my ass. I'm not like fantasizing about it. I'm showing you actual polls. That's it. People like what I have to say. They just don't like the word Nazi Stormfront. Exactly. Exactly. That's it. Have you watched a new Jubilee? No, not yet. Yeah, it's just like that lady, Valentina Gomez or whatever, in Missouri that chat was talking about over and over again. She was popping off on Twitter. She was using the F slur, the homophobic, queerphobic F slur, saying like F slurs need to fucking stay hidden or whatever. And everyone was like, oh, look how many fucking likes she's getting. She's going to do gangbusters in the fucking, the Missouri, what was it like? It was some state office that she was running for. And she got like 7th place. People don't like when they have to face the actual racism with like, yeah, Secretary of State. Yeah, she got fucking destroyed in Missouri. And I told you at the time, if she were to say this in public, she'd get her ass beat even in Missouri. Okay? Even if people agree with her on the issue of like gay people being weird or whatever, when you say the quiet part out loud, most people go, ugh, gross. You understand? Anyway, politicians can be just as arrogant and stupid as your fucking neighbor who's real good chaps, the most important people in your town's leadership, intellectually lazy and scared of change. That might mean they haven't changed their monthly wine selection budget. Yes, exactly. Fox News co-host Lauren, right-wing media have used the poll questions about mass deportation to claim the majority support Trump's proposed policy, not revealing that there is another side of this data that always shows that people are also simultaneously on board with pathway to citizenship. Okay? So what our billionaire friend was saying in that poll that he conducted on Twitter is correct. Most Americans, not on Twitter, but most Americans, like real Americans, when you talk to them about mass deportation versus pathways to citizenship, will absolutely prefer pathway to citizenship. Another thing you have to remember is that many Americans, especially many Americans, especially Republicans, arrive at their conclusions because they just don't fucking know how to read. Okay? They simply are not literate. They are illiterate. Okay? Maybe they know how to read, kind of, but like they don't do the reading, if you know what I mean. That's precisely the reason why, although I am, I would say, somewhat knowledgeable on the issue of immigration, public attitudes towards immigration, the impact of migration, and the negative consequences, supposedly, of immigration in general. Whenever someone approaches me and goes, what do you mean it's racist that you don't want illegal aliens coming over the border? And I ask them a couple questions about like what you think is the negative harm of people immigrating into the United States of America. They just start making shit up. It's that simple. They're like, oh, I don't know. They're trafficking drugs in their buttholes. It's like, no, they're not. Okay. Data shows the exact opposite. Oh, there's a sense of criminality. It's like, nope. Or the other side of it, people don't know how long it takes for people to legally migrate to the United States of America. They have no fucking clue, right? They don't know. They'll be like, oh, why don't they come in legally? It's like, dog, what are you talking about? Do you know that fucking process? Like at least minimum 7 years. Okay. That's insane. Minimum 7 years. And even then it's not guaranteed. So it's ridiculous to just be like, yeah, we shouldn't make that an easier process so that we can, integrate people quickly so they can become meaningful participants of the American economy, right? Which many people would be on board with, by the way, if suggested as an alternative to mass deportation and concentration camps, mind you. Okay? People don't even think about that. They just don't know. They don't know basic facts about this shit. Suddenly, Harris's edge in Michigan looks to be the strongest for either candidate in swing states. Anyone have any theories on why that would be? Michigan poll, Kamala Harris at 52.2%, Donald Trump at 47.7%. Anyway, I don't know. It took me 20 years to get citizenship. Yeah, I think it could be the juggalos. Not gonna lie, the juggalos coming out helped quite a bit with Kamala's chances, The juggalos have officially endorsed Kamala Harris. This is true. And then Obama rapped Mom Spaghetti, and America was like, that's right, this is our time. This is correct. Americans were like, at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break, and I have to avoid seeing those ads. I must subscribe. New in recent weeks, Republicans have flooded the airways with anti-trans attacks, but our new polling finds that voters would prefer a candidate who stays out of people's private lives over one who supports anti-trans legislation. When it comes to trans issues, voters trust Democrats more than Republicans. They say Republicans have the most extreme stance. Anyway, here's a 3-minute ad break now. Voters, 100% of voters no longer want to see the ads, and that's why they must subscribe for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting their Amazon Prime account to their Twitch account. Here's a 3-minute ad break now. So is there no problem with immigration? Are Republican and Democratic politicians discussing it in the same way? I thought that qualifying the problem, if one exists, isn't a bad idea. From what I've gathered from Vice President Harris, the problems are at no fault of immigrants. It's our ability to process immigrants are the problem. Similar to our problem at the top of the hour ad break. You were early, bud. Okay, you were actually too late. Voters reject candidates who support anti-trans legislation. A candidate who says that we need laws that restrict access to transgender health care and keep biological boys out of girls' sports. All likely voters. A candidate who says that the government should stay out of people's private lives and that there's too much legislation targeting a small minority population. Every single person that has historically said, Hasan, you are wrong to tackle the trans issue when talking to transphobes with this exact line of communication is eating crow. For years, whenever motherfuckers come to me and they're like, whoa, this hyper specific thing about 3 trans participants in the fucking high school swim meet is the only thing we should talk about. What did I always say? Why do you fucking care about this, you goddamn loser? You're out of your fucking mind. Okay? You're out of your goddamn mind. No normal person gives a shit about this. You're a fucking deranged lunatic. You have been primed by right-wingers to act like you give a shit about this. Debate perverts love this shit. They loved it. They were like, we got to talk about this endlessly. We got to offer endless amounts of fucking content surrounding this issue and then concede to the right-wing framing on it. It's like, shut up. It is inconsequential. Sometimes things are a little off, okay? Things don't make a lot of sense immediately, okay? And people love picking apart those things. They love making you hyper-focus on it and try to fucking create a wedge issue there. You don't have to concede, okay? You do not have to concede. The trans panic was a perfect example of this. And some of you dumb fucks, even in this community, constantly fucking yelled about this shit. I will never forgive nor forget all of the fucking Bonercelli, Vosh, all of the fucking debate perverts out there who were like, Hasan, I can't believe you got owned by fucking Christian Walker. When I literally was like, you don't care about this. Can you tell me who was the second place winner in this fucking swim meet in this example that you're suggesting? You do not actually care about this. You don't. And everyone was like, oh, you got owned in that debate. No, I didn't, dumbass. No, I fucking didn't. This is the proper way to communicate on this issue. You do not have to constantly talk about this dumb nonsense. Nobody cares. Americans broadly think trans people are kind of weird. I don't really get it, but they're also getting dunked on unfairly. That's their opinion, okay? That's the opinion of the average American. They're like, I don't really understand it. It's weird to me, but like, I don't care enough to want to kill them or want to legislate them out of existence. Republicans, on the other hand, like the fucking monstrous delusional losers that they are spending a metric ton of fucking ads specifically on this issue. And it's very stupid. It is very stupid. Republicans literally broke their own possible red wave in the 2022 fucking midterms because they did this. They did this over and over again. And people were like, I don't care. You will never make me care about this. Okay? You come across like a mentally ill psychopath when you constantly talk about the woke gender shit that's going on in high schools, okay? You're obsessed and you can't see the world outside of your immediate horse blinders when you get fucking mentally ill and laser focused on trans existence, so much so that you know the latest and greatest in trans tech. You know the latest and greatest in like trans culture. You know more about trans people than actual fucking trans people. At that point, you've lost your mind. You've lost your dang mind. It's like weird. It's sexual pathology. It's like a hyper focus, a hyper fixation that comes across as gross to normal people. Okay? Like, which message resonates with voters meme, okay? Democrats want you to stay out of people's private lives in terms of, offering medical care to trans people. Or we need to kill every trans person. We need to make sure that they are forcibly regendered to be their biological sex. They're stealing people's participation trophies in high school swim meets. I am going to now write state legislation that directly targets 3 trans 14-year-olds. This is my effort. This is my time. We need to send bomb threats to the children's hospital now. Which one is better? Which message resonates with voters, you think? Which message resonates with voters? You're a fucking weirdo, dude. You're a weirdo. You're a fucking weird freak. You're a nasty little pervert. I don't care. I don't want to hear from you. You fucking psychopath. If they present in the way that you did the second one, yeah, dude. Okay, good one. Let's not get angry about passive Ans Lamau, but yes, you were 100% right. Yes, I was always right. I'm always right. Too early, though. And to be right too early is basically being wrong, okay? That's what it is. Anyway, the other issue here is anti-trans ads are now #1 TV topic for the Trump campaign. The economy's #5. As Mark notes, it could either reset culture war politics for years to come in presidential races, or if Trump loses, go down as a major, even historical tactical blunder. Astonishing data point in this Mark A. Capito piece. Since President Joe Biden left the race on July 21st, Republicans have spent about $120 million on ads attacking their Democratic rivals over trans issues. Okay? I gave a warning after the 2022 midterms. I said, either the Republicans are gearing up to make this the #1 culture war issue, and they're gonna fucking successfully break the brains of enough Americans that they also become little Matt Walsh style terrorists, okay, which is genuinely scary, even more scary than what America is going to look like in the next fucking 4 years. Or most people are going to look at this and be like, dude, I don't care. I just want fucking eggs to be cheaper, man. What the fuck? Just shut up. I don't want to even think about this. Okay? That's it. That's it. That's it. And it kind of seems like I'm right. Turns out most Americans just don't hate trans people the way Republicans desperately want them to. Americans fucking don't care. Okay? They do not care. 64% of Americans say trans people are discriminated against. You are fucking dumb. You are so echo chambered, so hugboxed by watching an unlimited amount of Daily Wire videos and only spending your time on Twitter, and you have deluded yourself into thinking other Americans also give a shit about this. Okay? They don't care. 64% of Americans think trans people are being discriminated against. That's crazy. That's like a fucking higher number than black people, dog. What the fuck are you talking about? Because it's true, but that's not the point. Like, it's obviously true, but think about that. Think about that. Like, how do you make that work? How do you make $120 million of trans panic ads work in an environment where 64% of Americans say trans people are being discriminated against? According to our new polling released today, a majority of voters and independents by 23-point margin think these ads have gotten out of hand. Voters agreed transgender people should be treated with respect and disagree with the use of anti-transgender political ads. Oh, another fucking HasanAbi vindication moment. How many times have I said this? And it's understandable that my trans chatters regularly get fearful because the deck is stacked against you. But how many times have I fucking duked this out with people in this chat? It's because anti-trans shit, once you go, there's 2 routes that you can take on the trans stuff, okay? You can either be like, yeah, they're weird, I don't get it, but let them live, who gives a fuck? Or you can be like, they're weird, they're actually undermining Western society, and I will make it my life's mission to like literally destroy them. And yes, I would say around 10% of Americans have hit that fucking right-wing slant, including the likes of Dave Chappelle, for example. And slowly but surely, they just never stop thinking about it. That's why I said, like, being a TERF is the actual mental illness. Like, being transphobic is the mental illness, the real mental illness, because, like, you just start thinking that there's, like, a trans person lurking in every fucking corner. You think, like, everything is trans, right? It becomes the only thing you think about. Now, that's a small percentage of people that are really motivated on this stuff. Okay? But that small percentage comes across as gross to the rest of society. They're like, what? Okay, stop. I don't want to even think about this. I don't want to think about like child mutilation. Like, that's insane. What the fuck are you talking about? This does not mean that Americans are fucking flag bearing, pro-trans individuals. I've never said that. Make no fucking mistake. Okay? It just simply means most Americans are disinterested in this issue, and constantly harping on it over and over again makes them negatively polarized against you. Okay? Transgender people deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. 49% strongly agree. 25% somewhat agree. Strongly disagree, 8%. Somewhat disagree, 10%. That's a net 56, dude. Republican candidates using anti-LGBTQ rhetoric as a part of their campaigns is sad and shameful. 41% of Americans strongly agree. 20% of Americans somewhat agree. Political attack ads against the transgender community have gotten mean-spirited and out of hand. 33% of Americans strongly agree. 21% of Americans somewhat agree. This data came from 1,200 votes. That's so funny. Yeah, you're right. 1,200 is not a statistically representative sample. What are we talking about? How is it that every time I look at any poll or any survey, okay, there are people who just fundamentally don't understand how statistics works, like an entire field, and people just simply refuse to comprehend how this works. It's called a sample, okay? 1,200 is an adequate sample size. Oh, God, I don't want to even talk about that. Anyway, stats need to be required at school? Yes. So why did I bring this up? Why did I talk about this? Because it's fucking dumb, and it is causing, in my opinion, for the Republicans to look even more extreme and more silly in all of the areas where they're pumping these fucking ads. Okay? Having said that, here's Kamala Harris on this issue from the NBC interview. Kamala Harris is asked by Haley Jackson if transgender Americans should have access to gender-affirming care.
Let me ask you this question, very broadly speaking here.
Sure.
Do you believe that transgender Americans should have access to gender-affirming care in this country?
You should talk to Dean Withers. Is that Spider-Man? Is that liberal Spider-Man? Because I've been thinking about having him on the stream. I like his stuff. I like his gumption. Liberal Spider-Man, Spider-Lib. Yeah, I like the wear. I don't know. He's a little too libbed up. I don't care. Yeah, he is. I know. He got moxie. Yeah, that's right. He's got moxie. You see? I can see the future. Don't do it. I like the cut of his jib. That's right. The kid's got spunk. He's got moxie. I like the way he carries himself in debates. Yeah, he is omega libbed up, but I think it's good to talk to guys like that. I don't want him to go down like the debate lord trap, the debate lord trappings, and hopefully I can provide him a decent path forward.
Country.
I believe we should follow the law.
That's your answer, dude. You are running for president. The question is designed to see what you will do if you are president. Okay. You are the vice president right now. You are running for president. The question is not, will you follow the fucking law? The question is, what will you do if you are president? You make the law as president. What the fuck?
I mean, I think you're probably pointing to the fact that Donald Trump's campaign has spent tens of millions of dollars.
They're trying to define you on this.
Yes,
I'm asking you to define yourself, though.
Yeah, like literally, that's the question. How will you operate? Okay? How will you operate? The question is, what will you do? What will you fucking do?
Broadly speaking, what is your value? Do you believe they should have that access?
I believe that people, as the law states, even on this issue about federal law, that is a decision that doctors will make in terms of what is medically necessary. I'm not going to put myself in the position of a doctor.
Good. She should have fucking said, wait, what do you mean, huh? No, did I misunderstand? Yeah, she's saying, keep it between a fucking doctor and a patient. That's smart. she should have said that at the beginning. She's like, I don't think that we should be fucking putting ourselves as the big government, big scary government in these fucking decisions. Medical experts are making these decisions. You did. She's not saying that. She's saying follow the law. Yeah, but the point is the law as it stands currently is in favor of protecting. She's saying if your doctor doesn't think it's medically necessary, I'm not supporting you. I read it differently. I think that she said it's medically necessary. Yeah, I don't think that's a problem. Like, that is not a bad way to communicate this, okay? No, that is a fair way to communicate this, saying that medical professionals make this medical intervention when they deem it medically necessary, and that should be the law. That is the law, and that should remain the law, is the best possible way to say it. My only problem with this is that she didn't come out of the gate swinging with that. Like, this is a ridiculous line of questioning. I don't think that the government should interfere with the best standards and practices in terms of a medical decision that a professional doctor and a patient are coming together to arrive at, right? Hasan dodges accountability like an Asian man in a dodgeball game. What? Dude, why are my fucking number one naysayers so weirdly gross, like all the time? Like, they just, is decent to liberal, it's not great, but as a trans person, it's good messaging to the regular voter. Yes. I think that this is the best pathway forward in terms of communicating trans issues. Like I said, a candidate who says that the government should stay out of people's private lives and that there's too much legislation targeting a small minority population and these decisions should be kept between a doctor and a patient and the government should not step in there is the best way to communicate, okay? Because the reality is that we don't do this kind of thing for anything else. We don't have these kinds of arguments for diabetics getting insulin, you know? Can you imagine? Christian medicalists decide, actually, no, like medical intervention cannot happen. You should pray it away. You should pray when you have a gunshot wound, we have to pray for it. Okay. We cannot actually do medical intervention. And then they start trying to legislate this. You'd be like, what the fuck are you saying? What are you saying? We should just pray a gunshot wound away. Get the fuck out of here. It's no different. It's no different when we have this conversation with abortions. It's no different when we have this conversation with for trans people. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The only difference there is most people understand, like, yeah, Christian medicalists are fucking psychopaths and that a gunshot wound must get the proper fucking medical attention. Whereas people on the other hand are like, trans people are kind of weird. So maybe I'll hear it out. Except, turns out they don't. They don't want to hear it. They think it's gross when people fucking constantly harp on trans people. I think some chatters are falling into the opposite spectrum of Ben Shapiro on trans people, that all corners should get that care without any vetting that is appropriate, then is appropriate. I don't know about that, and I don't really care about that right now anyway. But overall, I think that it's understandable that people are fearful that trans medicalism is also like somewhat of a dangerous prospect here as well, where you can just get like enough doctors to be like, yeah, actually, we shouldn't do any sort of fucking HRT whatsoever. And then all of a sudden, you're pushing the consensus in the opposite direction. And that's a fear that a lot of trans people have, I think. And that's an understandable fear that they have. But in terms of communicating, I think this is a solid way to do it. It still most likely leaves enough room to throw trans people under the bus come next election cycle. And that's an understandable fear that people have. I get that. Here was President Biden's message to trans people in 2022.
For our LGBTQ plus Americans, let's finally get the Bipartisan Equality Act to my desk. The onslaught of state laws targeting transgender Americans and their families. It's simply wrong. And I said last year, especially to our younger transgender Americans, I'll always have your back as your president so you can be yourself and reach your God-given potential.
That's like kind of wild. Like Like this man said in the first 100 days, put a bill in front of me and I'm signing a pathway to citizenship. I'm doing amnesty. I'm doing conditional amnesty to immigrants in 2020. And then in 2024, he's like, oh, look alive, Jack. I'm building the border wall. Like, again, 2020, they're like, they try to do a gotcha on him. I'll never forget that classic, like, toilet paper USA dumbass charlatan walking up to Brandon and being like, Mr. President, how many, or Mr. Vice President, how many genders are there? And he goes, at least 3. Or no, he's at least 2. Did he say at least 2 or at least 3? That was awesome. That was awesome. Great way to deal with it. Just fucking say, I don't know. I just got here. It's great. People try to pick apart cynically whatever your fucking answer is when you are motivated by empathy, when you are motivated by finding the best pathway forward. And I think that it's really silly when dumbasses that don't even know how to fucking read, okay, turn around and start discussing the science of the matter. It was, in my opinion, one of the more annoying aspects of like the COVID denialism that ran rampant throughout American society. People were just like, you don't understand. These words that I can't even fucking read nor spell are actually inside of the fucking vaccine, and that's turning me gay and also autistic. It's like, no, dude, shut the fuck up, okay? Please. We leave so much to the scientists. Like, this is another one of those moments, okay? There are people who have spent their entire fucking lives trying to find cures, trying to understand how epidemics happen, trying to understand how fucking pandemics happen. Please, you are not an epidemiologist. You are not a fucking medical professional. Please, for the love of Christ and all things holy, shut your stupid fucking mouth up, okay? I get it. It's scary. You're going to get a fucking boo-boo. And you don't want that. But like, please, I hate that. I hate it so much. And people love doing it for every issue. It's one of the most annoying aspects of American culture. And the idea that like, you're an exceptional human being and you are individually an American citizen and therefore your opinion is unique and you came up with it on your own and now everyone has to fucking listen to you. And it's like, if we fucking ran the world with that principle, okay, if we ran America with that fucking principle, and we might actually, holy shit, I'm staring down a future Trump presidency right now and seeing that, you would die of dysentery, okay? 3 days in, you'd be like, well, the FDA, I don't give a fuck, no more FDA, sorry. No more fucking, you get E. coli from your McDonald's burger, which already happened. It's just so fucking stupid. It is so stupid that you take for granted the professional consensus on so many things that literally cause your dumbass not to fucking die the moment that you come out of the fucking womb. And you take all of that for granted while simultaneously shitting on it every day. Meanwhile, the things that you're shitting on are keeping your dumbass alive. Okay? It makes me so mad. Sometimes I go, maybe medical science has gone too far. Maybe we shouldn't have fucking saved everybody, okay? It's so frustrating. And you got dummies like fucking Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, and the like also advocating against this principle while they also benefit from it. And they have this like veneer of intellectualism attached to their position so they can like get away with saying this shit to even dumber people who go, hell yeah, that guy's a smarty pants. He's saying it. He's a fucking nerd. And he's saying it. I believe it too. It's like, fuck, man. I test the water for the EPA. My wife does quality assurance on foods for the USDA. People have no idea how many people work to keep them from being poisoned. I know. And it's so fucking frustrating that there are people, thousands, hundreds of fucking thousands, hundreds of thousands of people working every single day to ensure that there is a level of protection that you take for granted. Okay? When you go to the grocery store, you do not have to worry that the meat that you purchase is going to fucking kill you. All right? But nobody thinks about that. Nobody thinks about that because it's happening behind closed doors. Okay? Now, having said that, is the FDA perfect? No, it's not. Okay? Of course it's not. There's a revolving door. There are a lot of the regulatory agencies that turn around and unironically staff themselves with people that technically go and either work for the corporations that they're supposed to regulate, or work there and then go and work for the corporations, or work for the corporations and then go work in the regulatory agencies. Okay, and that is by design, for sure, right? And there is some level of corruption, okay? There is some level of corruption. Regulatory capture is a real problem. But having said that, the solution is not to further cripple these agencies, underfund them even more, and then cause them to perish, okay? The solution is to fund them better. The solution is to ensure that there isn't regulatory capture. USDA is meat, not the FDA. USDA and the FDA. As a federal public health researcher, thank you. It's just so, it tilts me to no fucking end. That's something I hate here in Sweden. Social safety nets get defunded, blame the social programs, then they get defunded even more. I know. Sorry, I've lost faith in the FDA. Okay, dude, fuck it. But you don't trust the FDA isn't corrupted by the pharmaceutical industry? That is such a vague generalization that I don't even know how to tackle this subject. Like, I don't know what you mean when you say that. Okay? Money. No, that your answer is still vague. Tell me exactly what you mean and we can have a conversation over it. You can't just be like, money. All right? Like, there's certain aspects of your, I guess, overall sentiment that I might agree with, but I don't know what you mean. Okay? But every step of the way, deregulation and underfunding these institutions, underfunding these regulatory agencies is a massive fucking problem. Okay? Same with the EPA. Same with the FTC. Same with the NLRB. You will never get me to say we have to fucking abolish these agencies. It's the exact opposite. We have to instill public trust in these agencies once again. We have to fund these agencies. We have to make sure that these agencies work properly. When people look to these crippled institutions, okay, and they say they're not working appropriately due to regulatory capture, or due to moneyed interest corrupting their impact. If you say we have to fucking destroy these institutions, well, then you're literally arguing on behalf of the people that corrupted the institutions to begin with. Like you are now a loyal servant of moneyed interests. And many people don't understand this. Anyway, on every economic issue surveyed, Kamala Harris has closed the trust gap or even surpassed Trump as a candidate as swing state voters trust more. Taxes, interest rates, housing costs, healthcare costs, cost of everyday goods, and gas prices. I can't believe that Donald Trump just simply... I think there's a bunch of different reasons for this. One, we have concepts of a plan, is what Donald Trump said. Okay? Two, not only did Trump just do a spectacularly bad job at this, he also hyper-focused on dumbass shit too much. Every time they ask him about, like, what are you going to do for the economy? He would just turn around and be like, we're going to deport 20 million immigrants. What are you going to do for the economy, sir? Nuclear warming is a massive problem. Sir, how will you protect our jobs? I am going to deport every trans immigrant. It's the transgenders that are stealing your jobs. It's like, okay, well, that's not really a good answer, is it, sir? Or we're going to do tariffs. We're going to do trade protectionism in industries that currently don't exist in the United States of America without taking the initiative to fund the manufacturing, the domestic manufacturing to make up for the additional tariffs, which is so fucking stupid. That's just more inflation. I don't understand how Americans hear him say this and go, hell yeah, baby. That's right. Tariffs are coming. They're going to take over China. It's like, bro, his merchandise is made in China. What the fuck are you talking about? You know what that would do, by the way? Tariffs on all Chinese goods. Ironically, you know what that would do? That would destroy the Trump merchandise economy, which we know is a pivotal part of the heartland, the rural American industry, okay? Because all those motherfuckers are getting that ugly ass shit directly shipped out of China. It would destroy them. No more MAGA hats. No more ugly ass t-shirts with Donald Trump on it with his like fucking, with his six pack, with eagles flying behind him. None of that. Can't do it. Now you have to pay an additional price. You have to pay this extra tariff fee when you purchase those things. You're fucked.
Making sure voters cast a ballot.
Black man vote.
Billy Miller is the state director for the nonpartisan group Black Men Vote.
Can you put into words how important turnout is?
It is the most important thing in this election. If every Philadelphia voter came out and voted one way or another, it wouldn't matter what the rest of Pennsylvania did.
A senior campaign official says next week the vice president will make what they are calling a closing argument speech on the National Mall, the very same spot where Trump delivered his January 6th remarks right before the assault on the Capitol. Tony?
Leisha, thank you very much.
Well, you know what they're going to be
Vice President
talking about
Harris
there. Harris cites former Trump chief of staff John Kelly's characterization of Trump during the town hall.